Welcome. The following demonstration illustrates how to rename an existing project in Visual Studio. The first step is to navigate to the location of the original project, make a copy of its entire project folder, and paste it to a different location. For example, if the original project is located in the Projects folder, it should be copied and pasted to a different location, for instance, to the desktop. The reason for this is that a Windows folder cannot contain two project folders with the same name. We are now going to select the original project folder, which is named Lab 01, and copy and paste its content to the desktop. We now see that the original project folder, Lab 01, has been copied and pasted to the desktop. Once the original project folder, Lab 01, has been copied and pasted to a different location, the next step is to change the project folder to the desired new name. For instance, the Lab 01 project folder will be changed to Lab 02. This can be accomplished by right-clicking on the Lab 01 project folder, selecting Rename, and changing the name to Lab 02. Now that the name of the Lab 01 project folder has been changed to Lab 02, the renamed project folder, Lab 02, must be opened in Visual Studio to make additional changes. Notice that although the project folder name has been changed to Lab 02, that the solution file and subfolder in the Lab 02 project folder are still referring to Lab 01. These and other changes still need to be made as mentioned previously. Select the Lab 01 solution file to open the project in Visual Studio. Once the Lab 02 project is opened in Visual Studio, the next step is to change the name of the solution file and the project file from the Solution Explorer window. To change the name of the solution file, right-click on the file in the Solution Explorer and select Rename. Rename the solution file to Lab 02. Next, change the name of the project file in the Solution Explorer by right-clicking on the file and selecting Rename. Rename the project file to Lab 02. After the solution file and project file have been renamed, the next step is to open the Lab 02 properties from the project menu. Once the Lab 02 properties window is opened, the assembly name and default namespace values should be changed from Lab 01 to Lab 02. Once the assembly name and default namespace values are changed, the assembly information should be updated by clicking on the Assembly Information button. The title and product values should be changed from Lab 01 to Lab 02. At this point, it is a good idea to save all changes to the project by selecting the Save All button on the toolbar and then closing the Lab 02 Properties window. Returning to the Solution Explorer, the program.cs file should be opened and the namespace should be changed from Lab 01 to Lab 02. By clicking on the small red rectangle under the namespace name, a drop-down arrow is displayed which provides the option to rename Lab 01 to Lab 02. This will update the change of the namespace name throughout the project. Now, open the form1.cs file and notice that the namespace name has automatically been changed. Once these changes have been made to the project within Visual Studio, click on the Save All button on the toolbar and then select Close Solution from the File menu. Returning to the desktop, open the Lab 02 project folder. Notice that the solution file has now been changed to Lab 02. Now open the Lab 01 subfolder. Notice that the project file has now also been changed to Lab 2. Returning to the Lab 02 project folder, the name of the Lab 01 subfolder can now be changed to Lab 02 by right-clicking on the folder, selecting Rename, and naming it Lab 02. The Lab 02 project now needs to be reopened in Visual Studio and the project file needs to be updated. Notice that when Lab 02 project is opened, the Solution Explorer indicates that Lab 02 project file load failed. The first step is to right-click on Lab 02 Load Failed in the Solution Explorer and select Remove. The next step is to right-click on the solution file in the Solution Explorer and select Add Existing Project. Then navigate to the Lab 02 project folder and then to the Lab 02 subfolder. Select the Lab 02 project file and click Open. And this completes the process for renaming an existing project in Visual Studio. The project can now be compiled and executed to ensure that it is working properly.